What's up guys, Yahoo's here. I wanted to quickly make a video sort of discussing a few nuances on SailX, like nuance maneuvers that I think could drastically improve a lot of people's games because I see them underused throughout many races. So I guess I'll start off with skiffs since we're already doing that. As you can see, I'm in a lone field here. Just as a hypothetical, I am going to just round this mark and use it like as if these were offsets right here. So there are a few different kinds of roundings you can do in skiffs. One of them, actually there are 4 different kinds of roundings really you can do. So one of them is the slow rounding, which is simply pressing G. Right, as you can see, very slow coming out of this. Kind of glitched here. Whoa, that was kind of funky, but the general gist of it is that you dip down to downwind and then slowly come up, and you lose a lot of speed that way. Plus, you could potentially glitch up like that. I don't know what happened there actually. But then there's some other ones, right? If you want to, like, let's say, do it a little bit faster, you can press G and then jibe. What that does is that sort of carries all your momentum. And you come out of that jibe very fast. Excuse me. That's still going to be in the video. That's really fast, and that's what a lot of people do. Ignore the countdown. But something else you can do that I think might be faster in most situations. I have to dip below the line. Something that you can do that can be faster in most situations is not press the jibe button so early. Because you'll notice, as I sort of go back up to this mark here, that I'll sort of do an overhead view to sort of do the comparison here. But if you do like a jibe rounding, for example, right? Notice it's like pretty small turn radius, but if you just hold on G just a little bit longer, see, I'm coming to this slower, it's still going to be a bigger radius. See how wide that is? See how, like, much more down I go with that? That's if you want to sort of, like, extend downward from competitors, you know? And I was going really slow into that as well. So that's the third method. But let's say you want to go course left here, but you don't want to do the slow rounding, right? There's a solution to that. So what you do is you press G, jibe at any point, attack cancel, and jibe back. So what you do is you basically press spacebar and then jibe instantly. So those are the 4 different kinds of roundings with skiffs that you can do. Speaking of pressing spacebar, I suppose there are different types of ways you can round up on a line as well, or round up in general, right? There is arrow keys, which is fast, but you lose speed as you do that. Another method, simply pressing spacebar, which pretty much preserves your speed, but you don't turn up really fast. And now, the way you should always be turning up, which is what I like to call tack canceling, is basically you press enter, and then spacebar a few times to correct yourself to proper course. So, enter, and just as you get to that proper course line, just basically correct it. You turn up fast, and you pretty much preserve all your speed going into it. A lot of people do that during the start, but don't do it coming down to these leeward marks here. Another thing I want to point out before I do a proper leeward rounding is a lot of people don't douse the kite properly. This video focuses a lot on skiffs, but I'll get to a few other boats later. So, if you're here, obviously the simple solution is to jibe douse like that, and tack cancel to round up. Right? But let's say, for whatever reason, you're coming in from this side, the outside here, and you don't have the luxury of practically dousing. So, let me just hypothetically, basically you jibe, that was a bad example because I didn't round very tightly, but I also didn't give myself a lot of space to execute that. But the gist of it is in order to not slow yourself down by dousing like that, you basically jibe douse, tack cancel, jibe back. Right? Just like you would with the one offset rounding if you wanted to go out course left, but didn't want to lose speed. So, the proper way to jibe is actually to do two jibes. Right? So those are most of the nuances. I want to now, I can't vote for boats, so we're going to basically restart until I get the right boat. Here we go. So, we're in bigs. We're feeling big. And there are a few ways you can round offset marks in bigs. Let's say you're coming up. A lot of people, what they'll do is they will, and this applies for other boats with like standard indicators like 420s too. A lot of people, they'll go, set, like space bar, like nice and smooth rounding, right? Nice and smooth, keeping your speed. Some people jibe doing that. The reality is that kind of rounding makes a very wide routing, and so that's very disadvantageous if, let's say, you want to get to course right really quickly. Right? Unfortunately, I have an eye flag, so I don't want to disqualify anything. But there are proper ways to round that don't involve doing that. I mean, those are acceptable ways in some situations, but there are sometimes better ways that allow you to go downwind faster, which I will demonstrate after this eye flag goes down. Unlike skiffs, you don't need to, you can still, of course, tack cancel to round up in bigs, but in bigs it's a little different because this is actually pretty fast just doing that. Okay, so my flag's about to drop, so I'm going to demonstrate some things. So if that's the offset mark, something you can do is you can take out the jitter and just press space arrows, and you go downwind much quicker that way. It's a nice tighter rounding, right? You don't waste all that time on like higher angles and sort of losing that downwind momentum that you get. Now, if you really want to be tight, you can, instead of just keeping it up, take it down and then put it back up. See how fast that was? It's like a snap rounding in bigs. You probably didn't know that bigs could really maneuver like that. The cool thing also about bigs is that you can use the arrow keys to drive over pretty easily. So basically, again, up, down, up. Right? Basically what taking the jitter does is it doubles your angular velocity, allows you to make quick maneuvers, which is pretty helpful for like offset roundings, sort of gauging your fluid mark roundings, all that jazz. So those are the big ones I wanted to discuss. A lot of people are going to ask questions, I think, about lasers. Not 420s. Lasers. Not 420s. Lasers. We're doing it live, people. Not cats. Lasers. Not. I can do this all day. Never gives me the what I want. There's a skiff. Nope. The laser will never come. Basically, a lot of people will want to be asking me about, here we go, jibe, like plane jibing. So I can't increase the wind now, unfortunately. Unless if I do 2 minutes. Can I do that? Yes, 2 minutes. Right. First and foremost, so to plane jibe, the gist of it is let's say you're sailed upwind. This is plenty of wind in which you can plane jibe at, but the absolute minimum wind is about 11.72 in which you can do this at, right? So let's say you're caught plane. I'm just going to ignore the fact that I'm not sailing the course. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. Basically, ease, spacebar, B. Right? Easy, spacebar, B. Easy, spacebar, B. It would always be 2 smooth keystrokes like that. Mostly because in this wind, the amount of angles you go through increases because the wind is very large. As you can see, we have a wind speed of 46 knots, which is not typical on SailX. But that is the general motion. You basically want to like press the down arrow until you pass dead downwind, spacebar, and then B as to flip over your sail. Right.